We're here. We're here. We're live. We're on.
Anybody
We're here.
there?
We're live. We're on.
Hello?
Welcome. Hello.
Hello. Is anybody out there?
Hello. Is this thing on?
Is anybody out there?
Are we alone in the world?
I don't think we're.
Has the meteor hit? We just haven't gotten the news yet.
The meteor hit?
Meteor.
I love those Instagram reels you're seeing, like, scientists have figured this out, and then it could be something, anything, right? Just randomly, like, oh, they figured out this is gonna happen.
Oh yeah, sure. We're all doomed.
We're all doomed. Hey,
Doomed.
paint liquor. There's some signs of life. Rattle can.
Doomed.
Source.
Doom. 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 Doom.
Dum da dum dum. Denim. All right, we're hopping right into it. Welcome in, everybody.
I'm painting.
Who's your Dusty Houdini? Source, paint liquor, rattle can. Welcome in, everybody.
I don't got time for all your shenanigans, Chris.
We're making our units pop today.
Popping our units.
No. We're making them pop. We're not popping our units. We're making them pop.
But if you're making them pop, aren't they popping? So you're popping your units.
Oh, man.
I don't make
I'm
this
flabbergasted.
Stuff up,
I'm at a little loss for words. Panic bomb. Colonel. We're doing great.
Hello.
Houdini. Popping a unit is illegal in 12 states.
Only 12?
Only 12? That's what Mario's pants are made of. Denim. Yes, they got me. They got me with that joke the other day.
I don't understand that joke.
So, Jason, what are we doing today? What are we doing?
I'm lightly caressing my miniatures with the hair of a synthetic weasel.
Nice.
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 Chris doesn't know how to act now. He's
No.
like, well, that wasn't what I was hoping for.
Well,
but
it's
I'll
not.
run with
It's
it.
not wrong. It is technically correct.
Technically correct is the best
yes.
kind of correct.
So one might say you're re-highlighting.
I'm going in after a wash to bring the colors back into their true nature, allowing the darkness of the wash to sit into the recesses only. And then we will be moving into brighter highlights after our midtones are reset.
Oh, chat, we're gonna have to fix this one in post.
That doesn't make sense. I just gave you an answer.
I know. Fix it in post.
What? I gave you the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, well.
You want answers? No, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
That was a very bad Jack Nicholson.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Makes Jack a dull boy.
That was beautifully wordsmith.
I'm trying to remember what line. It's so bad, but he's
What?
just like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
effing head in.
I'm just gonna bash them right the F in. It's so scary.
Here's Johnny.
But the acting is incredible. And if you guys go back and watch that camera work on that whole movie and just watch it for what they did, it's incredible. The slow pans, the gliding, the long shots of them just going upstairs. It's such a good filmed movie.
Yeah.
It's
a horrible adaptation.
That's what I've never read the book, and that's all I've heard.
I can't say horrible because, again, the movie is so good that it's hard to say that it's horrible in any way. But as a book adaptation, it misses on some of the most intrinsic parts of what make the characters the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the book, she is a very strong female.
Oh my gosh, that's the exact opposite.
Yeah, in the book, she is a super strong female. Like, at one point in the book, she gets stabbed in the back of her shoulder, but still manages to beat him off. That sounds horrible when I said it out loud like that, but
we all get what you're saying.
You know,
oh my gosh, that's the exact opposite in the movie.
She's also blonde and very gorgeous in the book.
Also the exact opposite.
And
oh my goodness, yeah.
The whole setup of why he's jobless and all that. A lot of the things that built the characters is just 100%
just lost
to all of it. Yeah,
interesting.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think those two had a feud, if I'm not mistaken. Kubrick and
well, afterwards,
Steven, yeah.
But the cook who ran the kitchen.
Oh yes.
He plays a really big part in the book, and he comes up to the house and immediately dies in the movie.
Oh right, okay.
Right, he gets axed in the stomach and dies in the movie, and he plays a big part in his.
Oh yeah.
So
it's
a stretch. Let's just say it's a stretch.
It's not an adaptation. It's like it's its own thing almost.
Yeah.
Can't even call it its own. But if you haven't seen that movie and you haven't watched it for just the way they shot it.
It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie, but...
I'm trying to get Gabe to watch it, but he won't watch it.
He refuses to. Because it's Gabe.
Do you think we need to take him to the hospital? That's one of my favorite lines.
Oh, my God.
You think he needs to see a doctor.
Yeah.
That whole scene... just where he loses it. Welcome in, everybody. We are picking our units back up, or Jason's unit, or, wow, I've buried myself with this one. Jason's painting all the details of these units today. We washed them yesterday with a special new wash, potentially. Oh, potentially, you might say. Well, you might have to go back and watch the other VOD.
What?
We won't tell you. You'll have to look back. Although that wash does look really good. Looks great, actually.
All right. I'm just playing around with colors. I'm just going back and reframing all of my colors. So you'll see me grab all of the colors we've already used and continue to work them back up over the top of the washed version of the colors. Every time you use a wash as a shade like we have, it will darken up the base colors. That's the whole goal. But what it does is it gives you the opportunity to come back with that same base color and use it as your first highlight almost. And that's what we're doing here.
Picking out the raised edges and such?
Yeah, raised edges, just putting it on the top surfaces, right? So it's less of you're catching the edges too, but it's more like, on the gloves, hitting all of the stuff that's on the outside. I'm not worried about the colors that are on the low spots.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. And then same up on the helmet. I'll just grab each little block area. And instead of doing like a base coat, I really have to go back and paint each little section to maintain the contrast. So yeah, it's a little bit more detail work. Get that done so that you leave the darkness in between the lines and panels and all that stuff. So we talked about how you could do this with a dry brush of each of these colors if the models were bigger.
Otherwise, if you dry brushed it now, it would probably eat the model.
You could pick a color that you thought was good to dry brush all these colors with, but our colors are very disparate, so I don't think that would work. Like, I'm not going to dry brush a blue the same way I'm dry brushing this kind of desert tan, right? That just wouldn't work. So...
But figure is looking good with those blue blockers. Yeah, they're the same tint. Those lenses. Flapjack, Nickelsack, welcome in. Okrin. Welcome in, everybody.
Everybody's having a great Thursday. It is Thursday, right? How in the heck did it get to be Thursday already?
Thursdays are good days.
Thursday means tomorrow is Friday, which means it's almost my weekend.
It's almost your weekend.
It doesn't feel like it should almost be the weekend. I'm thinking, Christopher, that I might come in and paint this weekend.
What?
I know.
You are?
I'm having so much fun with these guys that I'm thinking I might come in and paint the other unit, the other warband that I have for them.
Okay. Heck yeah. You should.
And just do it on my own time, put on an audiobook.
Go for it.
Enjoy myself.
Oh. I have been in the I am on the painting train right now as well. I am on the painting train with
Gargants.
Yes, it's a beautiful retribution for myself, and just the aha moments are big. Panic Bomb. I'm currently building a Sloppity Bile Piper, a dope model, by the way. I'm only saying this because I like saying Sloppity Bile Piper. Yes, that is a fun model.
All the
Nurgles.
All of those Nurgle models are awesome. I like the one on the big snail.
Oh my gosh, I want that one so bad. The gardener.
He's around here someplace.
He's got the big loppers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool model.
He's around here someplace.
Gamer Drek, I have not gotten fired yet today. Bud, do I hear a bonus stream? I don't think so. I think Jason's just going to come in.
I don't think so.
It's a temptation.
I don't think so. My brain is into what I need is just a fun day of painting with no, all the restraints off, kind of. I can just sit down and put on a good book. I've been talking around here that I need to do that.
You need a day.
Need a
painting
fun day of just coming up here and painting and disappearing into the paint again. It's always a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Painting, we talk about it a lot, that painting in general is a great focuser as well as distraction, right? Because you have to focus in on the work you're doing in order to really nail it. But it's also a good distraction, and it's being able to take focus away from things that, might be building up in your life, or, just the day-to-day monotony or whatever. And I have been saying for a while now that I need to get one of my paint days or get back into the habit, because I used to come in on the weekends all the time.
Yeah.
And at least one weekend day, I would sit in the studio and I would find a model that I was really enjoying painting. And sometimes I would do work on models that we were on stream doing, which we don't do that anymore. Models on stream, I just paint on stream. But it's still fun for me to come in and work on something else, get a new project going. And since I have two of these warbands, I'm not going to paint another one on stream. That doesn't make sense. It would get boring for everybody.
Yeah.
So
and just paint one yourself.
Yeah, so I'll just paint the other one for myself. Come up with a totally different color combo. The other one's supposed to be the United Nations force.
Oh, okay.
And I don't care about that, so I'm not going to paint them with like blue helmets and stuff like that. But it would still be interesting to.
It's interesting that on this one, right? I was just re-looking at that forearm. I have one of my Gargants has in one of his hands, he's gripping two like farmers that he's caught. And I think I'm going to use this same buildup on just their little hands and face, because they're small. They're ultra tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to have a reset day of just tuning into something so that you can tune out of other things. That's what painting has been for me lately.
Yeah, and I don't like to lose sight of that on my end, because I preach it so much, and then I'm like, you know what? I just need a relaxing day of not staring at a computer.
Yeah.
And some days I'll play video games or whatever, but, I'm like, I should come up here and paint, put on some music or a good book, which I don't know that I have, but I might just start the book that Mo conned me into getting, the Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, right.
I might use this as an opportunity to start that.
Are you you're more of an audiobook guy, not a podcast guy?
Jen and I, we used to put on a podcast like when we were driving, or sometimes when we were working here and doing stuff. And there are a couple of podcasts that I thought were really cool, but in general, no, I'm more of an audiobook guy.
Yeah. I'm a big podcast
works better
dude.
For me. Drab brown, and I think then we did we used like dark ivory, right? But we mixed that color, didn't we?
You did?
Uh-oh. I think we mixed drab brown and dark ivory together to get a highlight going earlier for the fatigues through the airbrush, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's what I want to do for highlighting this color. But I think it's too much to just go in with dark ivory. And the drab brown So I need another color. What color would I use? Do I have one of the new colors might work?
Uh-oh. We're just diving right into this right now. I really want that wash. I want that wash.
I have so many good ones.
That's the problem. That wash would go great on my Gargants right now.
Damn you. Damn you, Slowfuse.
Hot pink. False, paint liquor. False.
Damn you, Slowfuse.
But I'm fixing to start painting some giants. Nice. Would love to see your rhino skin work up. Yeah, I'll throw it in the Discord. Really loved how it came out.
That's probably
overall. I'll give it to you real quick too, bud. It was Shadows Pains Gray, and then it was Dark Neutral Gray from the top, and then I took a sponge and I stippled it, kind of like how Jason did the weathering in the vehicle, with neutral gray. Then I dry brushed it with bright warm gray. Then I took glaze and wash medium 8-to-1 transparent brown and black wash, but it was 8-to-1 as in the more glaze and wash medium with some water, and then did like a really faint brown glaze, and then I dry brushed it again with
it looks really good.
Yeah, it came out great. And I didn't even realize how much texture those things have until I started. Like all the wrinkles, all the
wrinkles in the skin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're leathery, right? Like that leather, like sun beaten, just giant hide skin. I'd imagine their skin is as tough as elephant hide. Paint liquor, I'll do that this evening. I'll put some photos in there. I'll tag you guys. General Ginkgo resubbed 11 months for a total of 14 months. General Ginkgo.
Thank you.
Afternoon to you. Claps for you. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's the right color.
That's looking great. Makes you want to play the game.
And this one I don't have. It makes you want to play the game.
It does sometimes when you see a good workup. You're like, ooh, this game looks fun. Haven't read it, haven't played it, haven't looked at anything. Oh, guess that's what box art is for. It's
yeah,
like,
right.
Oh, this game looks fun. There's no rules on the front of the box, everybody. They're just painted well.
That's the rule of cool right there.
It is.
And it's unfortunate because there are a tremendous amount of games that I have bought because the models were cool.
It's the opposite.
And the game is garbage. Right? Hate.
It's the opposite.
Hate from Cool Mini or Not. It was Adrian Smith, and I knew going in I didn't care about the game. I just wanted all the Adrian Smith models, and so I bought it.
Oh, Hate. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I mean, I got this game now, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was, I don't remember how much it was, $300 for everything that I got or something.
But you got a bunch of models.
Like that. But I had all these models, and I was like, I might as well read the rules for the game and give the game a go and all that. It was garbage.
Oh.
It was really bad. But the models, amazing. So,
yeah,
and I knew going in I wasn't buying it for the game, so it didn't really bother me too much. But
sure,
it's still funny that you're like, oh, but the models are so good, and you can get lured into that. I bet this game's great because the models look good, and it's like those two things have nothing to do with one another. Nothing to do with one another.
Cynical, I found the background plinth piece you used on the Guardian. Might try something with this next month. Nice.
Yeah, it scales pretty well. The one that I got was pre-supported. If I had to do it again, I would go and support the unsupported one because the pre-supported one, as you grew it in dimension, the supports got a little chonky and hard because it was like an STL that had the supports on it. It wasn't a supported lychee file that I could go in and alter. So the supports themselves grew in scale when I scaled the model up, and that made that a little rough. I don't know if they've changed that file by now, but watch out for that if you're using the supported ones and you want to make it the right size for your project. You might want to look back at the unsupported one, and if you know how to support Enlightenment or one of the other programs, do that yourself. That's the only bad thing that I have to say about those things. And I don't know if that's technically a very bad thing. It just...
Punisher, don't tell me that. I've been working on Hate forever now.
The models are great, man. Find another game to play them with.
Common issue with pre-supported stuff. If you want to scale it down, up or down, may as well be unsupported.
Yeah.
May as well use unsupported. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, I'm liking that color. What do you think?
I like that color.
Gives me a little bit more contrast on the pants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that better.
Not being too out there. Oh,
I like that better.
Yeah.
And that's one of the new 24 colors that's going out. Like a beige.
Monument Hobbies. If you scale a .lys in Lychee, it keeps the supports as is. Found that out after many failures. Interesting.
Yeah, but it was an STL, not an LYS, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I see.
If it would have been a Lychee file, it makes things really easy because then I can keep the supports the way they are, add more, change it. Whenever you get a supported STL file, it's really a bummer. And all of those plinths that I got were supported STLs.
Got it.
And that was tough because in order to make the plinth the right size, because by that point the supports are part of the sculpt.
Yeah,
they're not individual components when they're on an STL, and so that made that just a little rough to deal with.
Game delay. Being in combat would give me a little more contrast in my pants. That's silly business. Game delay. That's silly business comments right there.
We love it. Keep them coming.
A little more contrast in my pants.
That's why.
Am I right, everybody?
Game delay. That's why you eat field rations the way they give them to you.
Just
because they are meant to keep you constipated.
Oh man,
that's true.
Everybody's got to poop.
It's true. MRIs or the meal MREs, meals ready to eat, are designed to keep you from pooping for long periods.
Can't stop the battle for pooping.
All the nutrients you need without any of the poop.
Amen, brother. Blackout minis in the wild. Hell yeah. Booney's looking hot.
Zenny, what's going on? Yeah, we're doing, we've got the Task Force Boone. We have gone through and done like the airbrush coats, and then now I'm detailing the guys and really don't have a plan, so we're kind of finding our way around. But I also have one of the heavy dusters for them, doing them all in kind of a desert tan camel combo here.
I think the blue pants were a good choice, though.
Well, yeah, I've decided to do them more as mercenary operators than any kind of corporate task force type thing, even though that might spurn the lore a little bit. I don't care. They just have a look that they wanted to be a little more individualized than all of them in the same exact color. So I kind of changed course halfway through, and then I decided I would show more of a lesson in how to approach painting solid base coats after you picked all your colors out, and then doing a wash, and then coming back and picking out highlights over the top of the washed color for keeping things speedy.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now.
King Tone, hey all. Did my first noosh the other weekend on some Necrons. It was also my first time performing the reductive technique, and wow, I got the exact effect I wanted. Thank you for the tutorials. You're welcome, King Tone.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. I've got a vehicle weathering video I'm working on for y'all of Jason doing the weathering with noosh on the vehicle. So we're glad you like those.
Noosh is a game-changing product, and it is so fun because you just get to play with it.
Yeah.
You know, you just get to kind of sit back and try things. It's like finger painting sometimes.
It is fun.
It's very liberating.
Yeah. It's such a cool effect. Like, trust the process of the dry. That's for sure. Like, once it dries, it's magical. Kyle Sparks, how well does PA work on metal?
Metal models?
Yeah, like metal miniatures?
Fine.
Jason and I were talking about the other day, like, it would be fun to find an ancient model out there, like on eBay, like an ancient boxed, like old OG model and paint it up.
We have one in
We
my
should do
office,
that.
remember? The
Yeah.
one that I got from that little old lady at WonderCon.
Oh, and it's
She brought her husband who had passed away.
Yeah.
She brought me his miniatures at WonderCon.
Oh, we should
and
do
was like,
that.
I really love what you guys are doing. It's so great to see the kids. My husband would love this. He passed away. These last of his models I found, I would want you to have them. And I was blown away. And it was some old Grenadier D&D models, and some of them were ones that were the iterations of some of the first models I'd ever painted.
Yeah.
Just absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, we should paint one of those up on stream.
Yes, metal minis monument. Oh yeah, that would be a fun thing.
Doing a classic mini.
Ooh, we could totally do a series on that. Painting classic minis. Do you change up your technique with metal or not really?
No, same thing. I probably watch the way I handle the miniature a little bit more because of the fact that you can rub paint off of the edges of metal minis much quicker.
Yeah.
Because it's just a harder surface than the plastic.
Right.
They have the pointy edges on them and stuff can be a bummer to grab onto and wipe paint off on. So I probably handle them a little more carefully. But in general, no, there's no thought process I do differently for metal. It's just a miniature.
I think that'd be a fun one. King Tone, going back to Noosh, it was definitely in quotes, trust the process. I was a little uncertain with how long to leave the Noosh on, but gave it a period of rotating between 5 minutes. Yeah, it goes on, any way you'd like it, but once it dries up, it just leaves a magical effect.
And again, putting it on and removing it fairly quickly will have less tint strength to the Noosh, the color that you've added into it, than if you leave it on longer. And so by that rule of thumb, if you go in and kind of play around with it by removing it quickly at first to get a feel for it, then you can go and do another layer, leaving it on a little bit longer, and you'll build up your understanding of what it's going to look like at the ratios you've mixed it at, and then it's off to the races. Then you're just having fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My next endeavor is at some point I want to try using green and with Noosh. I want to try that on some of my Nurgle models. Maybe I should just do that for the sake of science.
The sake of science.
I have a Rotigus that's all painted up, but now that I'm thinking about it, it could look good with a tinted Noosh layer on it. Huh. Maybe I'd do that.
When you get into like monsters and demons and stuff, you can wind up doing all sorts of crazy colors with it. I typically have just shown off the more realistic scale model type weathering and black browns and rust colors and things like that we want to be using. But you can think about blues and magentas and all sorts of crazy stuff you could make happen with it with other colors as you get into more fantastical models.
Yeah.
Show.
Andy's Big Balls Plumber. I found some really old raw Partha minis in storage.
Nice.
Those things were rough back in the day.
Boy, weren't they?
I think that could be a fun little mini series of you painting one of those up. It'd be kind of fun.
Heck yeah. They're in my office.
The OG. Back to basics.
No, I think the fun thing would be take one of those old models and paint it very high end,
hero, like hero style.
Yeah.
Like really make a cool looking hero.
Yeah. Like, why not?
I think that's a great one.
They don't have as much detail. They're all hand sculpted. There's no digital sculpts, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it gives you a totally different kind of perspective. You wouldn't get the kind of detailing that we're seeing on these guys. These guys are crazy with the realism and the scale. And, you know, whereas those old metal models are definitely not.
Paint Liquor, a mini series. Yeah, that's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
A mini series. How about that? A miniature mini series.
It's a mini maxi series.
That okay?
A maxi mini.
Chat. I could be fun. Now I'm trying to remember which ones you have.
Hold on, I'll go get some.
Oh, he's gonna surprise us, chat. He's leaving Chris alone.
They're in like a coffee can.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Chat, get ready. Now you just have me, chat. Get ready for shenanigans with Christmas sushi. Oh, I hope you all are just having a great time right now watching this paint. Tell me a naughty secret, Sushi. Paint Liquor, no. I won't do that. What are the deets on the miniseries? Oh, I like that. TK421. Do you copy? Do you copy? TK421, do you copy?
Sorry, we had a little bit of a communication problem down here on the ramp, but everything's working as normal now.
TK1. That's great. All right. Show us the goods.
Okay, so here is the one that she had that was still in the package.
Okay.
It is Grenadier Models presents, right? Julie Guthrie's Fantasy Personalities, right? This one says it's for gaming and collecting fantasy adventure figures. This is the Elf Sorceress.
Nice.
Right, from Grenadier. Grenadier doesn't exist anymore, but if
you
you pop in close on that one, yeah, right?
Yeah.
So these are one-piece models.
Oh, dude.
Right? That are, you know, it's Elf Sorceress. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. Little hand sculpted Grenadier from Springfield, Pennsylvania. And this was $1.25, guys.
This is dope.
$1.25.
That'll be a fun series.
This lady was like 70 or 80 something. And she came by while Jordan and I were painting. Then we have some models that ring very true to my heart, like this.
Whoa!
Her husband had painted.
Oh, man.
It's like a knight wielding a two-handed sword.
Look at, dude. We just found the next thing, chat. Whoa, look at that guy.
It's like a ninja with a spear. You know, these are the old one-piece models, so they had to be flat because the molds couldn't get very thick.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of dimension front to back on them. They're very thin, narrow, and they're all linear, like looking left to right. You know,
nice.
So there's a lot of craziness.
Dude, that knight is so classic.
This model,
what is that?
This model is a dwarven thief.
What?
I believe, and I had this model.
No way.
Yeah, he's got two daggers, or like a short sword and a dagger. Right, he's looking at us over here, and a feather in his hat. So he's like a dwarvish thief or swashbuckler or something, you know.
Dude,
this guy I had.
Look how old.
This guy I had, but his sword is busted, so that's a bummer. But I had this guy. He was a warrior.
Wow.
I painted this guy in my life. I have painted this model probably 2 or 3 times as a kid. This exact model. Again, all these Grenadier D&D models are great.
Yeah.
Right. Here is it's kind of a Viking-ish looking dude.
Yeah.
He's got a cape and horns on his head. So again, just another warrior with, you know, sword and shield, buckler.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And
that
some
would
of these
be
that are all
cool.
painted up with this is all like, you know, like Tester's enamel or something crazy, right?
Man, these minis have traveled far.
Probably not at all. They probably stayed in California for their entire life.
I guess I meant to like in their journey of somebody holding on to them to get to here to be shown to the world of
and
chat.
somebody's like, I have no idea what they even are. Like, it's like, is that a cleric? What is that? Oh, that's a cleric.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's a cleric. You know.
These characters remind me of like that old video game Clay Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that is the
wizard.
most. That is the most OG wizard ever.
Yeah. Yeah, the top of his staff is all busted up.
You could totally
bent,
make something
metal's
fun.
all freaking bent.
You
Guys
could totally
like
do that.
I mean, it looks like it's made out of soft clay.
Yeah.
The detailing is so soft on these. Look at this. Look at this dwarf warrior.
What? That is just
his black beard and then flesh.
Wow.
Yeah, we could do some real damage
many.
to these guys. Oh, there's a ton of them in here, right?
Wow.
There's this guy who's like, who's this guy? This guy like I don't know what this guy is.
He's like a
necromancer or something. He's got
like a
crazy
necromancer.
hair and
Dang, dude.
there's another ninja.
Oh, that guy's classic looking too.
Ninja. And these are all these are Ralpartha ones. The ones that have the flat bases are Ralpartha.
Yeah.
Then,
Gabe, these look like ORS miniatures in form. Yes, they do. I don't know.
female thief.
TK421. Back in my day, we had these things called miniatures.
They were made out of real lead.
I wonder how many of these got some lead in them.
Oh, wow, a lot of them. A lot of them. Yeah, so this is a female fighter.
Wow.
You know?
These are fun. I'm excited now, chat.
Look at this with like the pearlescent purple fingernail polish paint on it. This is crazy. His sword's broken too, but this is like, I don't know what he's got banded mail. I don't know what that is.
Dope.
There's so many of these. And it's all in a coffee can. Cafe Vienna, General Foods, International Coffees. This is the stuff that my dad drank back in the day.
Dude. Oh, look how classic that knight looks,
look
man.
at this classic warrior axe,
oh my
sword,
gosh.
and shield.
I think it could be kind of, I don't know. So do you open that box?
This guy unfortunately has weapon broken too, but it's a full plate armored dude. This guy, I just love this like, ha. How about you?
It looks like hieroglyphics.
It does look like hieroglyphics. It's like the side of the wall, right? It's just painted crazy. Oh, here's one in a
Chat,
Ziploc.
don't eat the lead.
Here's
yes,
one in
Dusty.
a Ziploc.
Don't eat
What do we got here? What do we got here, chat? Super hot. Oh, this one's actually got really good detail. This is the one we're painting, chat.
Oh, it's like
Look
a
at
barbarian woman.
Look at her.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna zoom in one more time.
She's got a chainmail shirt.
Oh.
High boots. That is Ralpartha 86, 83, 1983, 1980 something. That one's actually cool. That one I'll put off to the side because it's clean.
Yeah.
Was in a Ziploc.
Oh wow, another
Again,
like
it's like another sparkly. It's like another gloss
necromancer.
green car paint. Dude.
These are cool. Colonel's saying he's had a couple of these.
Oh my god!
Everybody's saying it. Like, oh my gosh, I have some of these. There's a couple. Game
Look at that.
delay.
It's like wannabe Conan. He's got literally just a freaking. Does he even? Is that his nutsack?
Dude,
like, I think he might have
punching in.
Yeah, he has like a fur. He has like a fur short, and then he's naked.
Dang, dude!
And he's just like, aha! How about you?
That guy's stacked.
And one more. One more.
Oh, classic archer.
An archer. Oh my god, the bow string.
I can't believe you could just bend them like that.
The bow is like the string is all bent and the bow looks like it's I don't know what's going on.
You don't see that bow ain't working.
I'm not sure exactly what's going on here.
Oh my gosh.
The flash was still on.
Lumberjack Tim, thank you for that sub. 29 months.
It's like a
You're an OG.
Halfling archer. Instead of painting him like pants, he painted it like bare legs.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So out of this, there's not a whole lot of really good ones here, but
which one?
There's a couple. I think this one.
That one's a good one. The one in the box is good.
It's good. The one in the box is okay.
But would you want to open the one in the box?
The dwarf, if the dwarf dagger, the thief is pretty good. He's been stripped because you can see yellow paint in the recesses, so he's been stripped.
I don't know, that classic knight, that first one, the blue one, one's pretty good.
Yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Right?
We'll pull him off the side too. What is this? This is Ralpartha 2. This is Grenadier. Yeah, it's a Grenadier right there. Can't tell the date.
Wow.
1900.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, there you go, chat.
Chat.
So paint some things. The rest of these go back in the coffee can. There you go.
You got a whole adventure in
that
that coffee can.
So this was such a throwback for me because, like, some of these models I actually owned.
Yeah.
Because there weren't a whole lot, right? There just weren't a whole lot of different miniatures. So if you had miniatures and you had a lot of miniatures, I guarantee you had some of those.
You had some of those.
Because they didn't have, like, 5 million sculpts back then.
Yeah.
Like Reaper does today and all that stuff. So lots of fun.
No, that's great. I think that'll be I think people would like that.
Lots of
fun.
fun.
What do you think? Would you all like would you like to have a mini series on painting old models? We could do a 0 to hero reborn, models reborn kind of deal. Okay, yes, we're getting some yeses. Definitely paint the OG. Yeah, anything but GW. Yeah. All right, chat. We're gonna make Jason paint an old model.
Here we go. I got myself
filled
into this.
with.
I have to remember this is my own fault.
Filled with campfire stories.
Painting an OG actual Grenadier from the early 80s model.
Now, do we take the one out of the box or do you keep the one in the box? In the box. Or is that a grand unopening from store to Monument Hobbies live stream?
I mean, I'm of the mindset that we paint one of the other ones. The one in the box is not the best sculpt. That freestanding...
The Barbarian Woman's pretty good.
Barbarian Woman is kind of the best one.
That could be a good one, chat.
So
actually, I don't know. It could be cool. There it is. The before and after picture is going to be dope.
The night that he's painted blue is kind of fun because you could say night. Like this is the old.
That's classic.
You know, here's the classic paint job.
The classic Monty Python.
Yeah.
We could do like a you could do that one too.
They'll go quick because they're small. I say that. Here I am painting small dudes right now and it's taking weeks.
Could really paint a really dope, like paint it up really cool though. Great idea, Jason. Great idea. Make a set of knights who say knee.
I don't even know what they look like other than they have weird antler horn helmets.
They
have
like
80 million feet tall. What exactly was going on there? I don't even know.
Knights who say
and the guy in the back.
Yep. Orc Pride, 96 months.
Impossible.
Whoa!
Any orc with actual pride would not like us that long.
Orc Pride.
That's how you know he's a liar.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Impossible, we call that orc.
Subscribe for resub for 38 months and a total of 96.
Crazy. Insane.
Speaking of OG.
What's going on, Orc? Good to see you.
Gabe likes the megaphone.
Thank you so much, Orc Pride. That's a confirmed 96 months. Thank you.
See what I have to put up with, Chet?
This thing's so cheap. The plastic, the like ink stamp on the side of this just melts off.
Gabe, we're at a nice 35,000 foot altitude, nice cruising altitude, and we're just going over Colorado Springs right now.
Look outside the windows.
If you look out to your left, you'll see the
Grand Canyon, Eiffel Tower,
Rocky Mountains,
Eiffel Tower,
followed by your mom.
What?
Whoa!
Now we got your mom jokes.
I'm sorry, that one was for Gabe. I stooped. All right, I stooped. Stoop kid never leaves his stoop, and I stooped.
Chat. Chat, should we fire him?
TK, speaking too clearly for a pilot. We need to mumble a little bit more. Yeah, Swifter Bear. At some point, you're right. This side of the stream room, I'm just gonna make a Foley studio with Jason, and you'll just hear me do it like, oh, and you remember when I was on the path, doo doo doo, making just random sounds. Gabe, I think we should get him a gong. That could be fun, Gabe. A little mini gong could be fun.
Gabe,
put it on the whiteboard.
Gabe, you're about to be fired along with Chris for egging him on.
Part of the ship, part of the crew. Part of the ship, part of the crew.
What does that even mean, Chris?
Part of the ship, part of the crew. Pirates of the Caribbean. Like when he goes to stab Mr. Will Turner. Take his heart out. Part of the ship, part of the crew. Oh, chat. I'm just over here.
In his own little world, chat.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Own little world.
You must be good and lost to find a place that can't be found. That's just it now, Mr. Turner.
Oh, chat.
We're good and lost now. We named the monkey Jack. It's great. Love those movies.
They are pretty good movies.
Oh, man. Hey, if you're all just now tuning in, welcome. We're painting up some more details on this unit after a beautiful wash job from yesterday. If you missed that VOD, I'd go back because that wash is one of our new washes coming out. So get hyped, get ready.
It's really good.
And sit back and relax. The
brown gray wash. It's life-changing. Yeah. So good. Now we're going back and redoing our base coat colors, or in this case, I'm doing a lighter color than the base coat color over the shirt. The sandy beige color.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to get some contrast. It's pulling color apart and making them look like actual things. I'm really trying to find ways to not have to paint every little doodad on the model like its own color. So,
otherwise you'll go insane.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
These definitely are going to have a dope 3-foot rule. They have a good 1-inch rule. That wash just really made these things just come alive.
Right now, because I've got so many wrinkles and such in the clothes, just try to catch the wrinkles, catch the hem, catch any of the details like the seam that are popped out, and get that contrast baked in there. That painting over the wash, because the wash really makes the model multiple colors, even though we only painted it one solid base coat. We didn't do any highlighting really. I mean, we did a little bit with the airbrush, but the wash knocks it all back, gives you a good depth of mid-tone color, and then you can go through with the highlights and really start grabbing really good contrast very quickly without much trying. There's not, these guys have tons of little detail, but you see them making short work of it just by catching the tops of the folds and the pants.
Gosu. Haven't been around much, but I'm hyped for the new whispers of new paints and washes. I've always hoped you guys would expand your wash line. They're unique and the best filters I've found in the wash space.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Gosu, you're going to love them. After just showing off the brown gray yesterday, I think everybody got it. They just work. They don't cloud up. They don't give you that crazy texturing that other companies' washes do. They don't pool up in weird areas you don't want them to. Very controllable. Like everything else we do, it had to be something I wanted to use. And I'm not a guy that uses a lot of washes. So in order for me to want to use a wash, it had to become something that was more of a controllable filter. It's never going to be 100% control just because of the way a wash is intended to act, but closer than not with ours.
Yeah.
And some good colors.
Yep.
I would argue our black wash is one of the best out there, if not the best out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been really finding I'm liking the ability to put some water into our washes and have them really sink into those recesses. Really liking them.
I'm using quite a bit of dampness on my brush for this so that my color is pretty thin. Because it's so bright, I don't want it to go on at full opacity. I do want it to blend in with the darkness of the layers beneath a little bit. And then if it's, too translucent, doesn't let enough of the brightness exist to give me contrast on the folds and such, then I go back with another coat. I'm hoping that if you've been here long enough that you're starting to learn that one of the big kicks to miniature painting is to be able to control the opacity of your paint to the point where you can feel comfortable going through and doing what I'm doing, which is putting a color on, right over another color with an abandon to it, because it's not going to be as opaque as it could be, so it won't really screw anything up. And then go back and dial it in with a second coat, because that second coat will act as a blending coat. You're not going to cover up all your work with it, but it will allow you to get enough brightness or darkness in an area depending on the type of color you're using.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things. It's what I'll be teaching at my Adepticon class with the red and doing Crimson Dynamo. We'll be working this way.
When you're going back over and finding these additional areas or like bringing the color back, I'm trying to figure out how to word this question. Like, how many steps of light will you go after this typically with a unit like this?
Well, it depends. Like, these guys are mostly cloth. So the cloth doesn't want much more than maybe another touch with one brighter color.
Gotcha.
Because it's not a reflective material.
Right.
So you're not going to do a whole lot in general to brighten it up. So I won't do a whole lot more with that. But with the guns and things that I might want to put a little bit of shine on, although not a ton, right? You don't want your gun to be super reflective. I think the goal when in theater is to probably not have much reflect at all if you want to stay alive. So that's what I'll be taking into account. The visors will probably have the most done to them because they'll be the shiniest thing on the models.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of based off of material as well.
Yeah, always. Yeah, to say that, I think that the easiest way to explain it to newer painters is that you need to think of every item on the model is probably going to take a minimum of 3 colors, but 3 colors may be perfect. You may be able to get away with a minimum with something like a cloth. You do a base coat, a mid-tone, and a highlight on a shirt, and it looks great. You do that same base tone, mid-tone, highlight on something that's supposed to be shiny, and it doesn't work as well. Because the brain's looking at it and says, oh, well, that's the visor on a helmet. Shouldn't that be reflective, like mirrored sunglasses kind of look?
Yeah.
And so you'll have to be careful with certain materials, but you can see how the brightness on these clothes doesn't need to go too much brighter. I can see all the folds on the jeans.
Yeah.
Right. But like every model that I do, it has to wait until all the other parts are painted before I make my final decision. Even on something this small, even when just doing a unit that isn't, these guys aren't character models necessarily. They're not all, your Primark model or anything special.
Yeah.
But it is a small skirmish game, so I'm hoping that in terms of how the game plays, that models stay on the board a little bit longer.
Yeah, so that they have a little bit more oomph to them.
Yeah, so that your paint job really gets to stick around too. As a hobbyist, I'm always concerned with games where you're picking up, 50 million orcs all at once. Why would I spend a lot of time painting my orcs?
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
And that I find it hard, and a lot of people, it dissuades them in the hobby. They're like, well, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on these models because like I play night goblins or goblins.
All my goblins monochrome.
Yeah, because I play goblins, and every time my enemy looks at them, I pick up 50.
That's exactly right.
And so if they have to be painted, they're going to be painted in 3-color battle ready standard, and that's it.
Yep.
The skin is one color, the clothes are one color, the base is a third color. And I'm like, wow, but they could be so much cooler. And so giving you fast methods so that you don't feel like you're wasting your life, but also playing games where your models stay on the table a little bit longer is a cool idea.
It's always kind of nice.
So skirmish games tend to do that a little bit better. Or the skirmish game plays so quickly that even if you lose a model fast, you're already putting it back on the table. You're not spending the next 3 hours wishing you had that model back.
Yep.
So there's some component there too that helps in skirmish games because just the overall game doesn't go that long.
All right. Well, Papa Chicken has a longer question here, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked a lot of questions around color usage. I think I finally found an analogy that works to accurately describe what I'm trying to ask. With more traditional 2D art, if you throw a random color into the shadows, people just suspend their disbelief because it's art. But for the same reason, that hasn't permeated into miniature painting in the same way. It feels like if you aren't trying to render how light works in a true to life form, you're kind of mini painting wrong. Thoughts? And here's the question too, Jason, if you need to reread it.
I tend to disagree if I'm hearing you right, because I put weird colors and shadows all the time.
That's
right?
true.
There is an artistic flair to painting in general. Now, I do understand where you're coming from, that I think in mini painting, people are typically keeping it more realistic in a sense of lighting when, painting for war games, because a lot of those people don't come from an artistic background where the artistic, I hate using that term, artistic use of color, but, I think it registers with everybody. What we're talking about is, like magenta shadows or, turquoise in weird places and stuff like that, right? Is more of a painterly way of looking at things than it is a realistic way of looking at things. But you can definitely do it. You have to have an understanding of light and be able to recreate light with odd colors so that the viewer still looks at it and gets the idea of what it is, right? It's like I always say, you have to know the rules in order to break the rules properly. That make sense?
Yeah.
So if I don't know the rules of highlighting and shadow, then it doesn't matter what colors I use, it's never going to look right.
Yeah.
Right? So if I pick a model that has, what do I got up here? Doodly 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 doot. I think if I have anything that has a fairly, like here, right? Using colors like this on skin, where, we're using more of the jades and turquoises and emerald colors for skin, so we're painting an alien skin, I still have to make the light and the idea of the color of the skin conform to shadow and highlight correctly, but I've been able to use colors that are not just a triad or a simple amalgam of flesh tones that I've created here. I've got some yellows in there, I've got some jades and some dark blues, some dark purples, things of that nature. And so all in all, I get to bend the mind's eye, so to speak, because this is the way skin would look under light. It's just a different color skin and the brain gets it. So, using a different color palette, I could go over this with flesh tone. And all of these colors could just be my underpainting. And I could go in with, tan flesh or something over the top and turn her into a Caucasian woman. And these shadows would still make sense because the balance of light and darkness on the model and the contrast that provides makes sense. So understanding the rule of light and then replacing those with color. It's like I talk about value and volume are the most important things. Notice neither of those consider color. value in terms of brightness versus darkness and contrast on the model, and the volumes that creates, meaning the weight and the shape of things that you've created contrast on, is the single most important thing in discerning a visual picture when painting, drawing, anything. And those don't need to include color. You can include color in them, certain colors next to each other. Black next to white makes contrast. But it doesn't have to be color oriented. You can just paint in black and white, and if you get brightness, grays, darks, and lights where they're supposed to be, then every color over the top of that makes sense. Then it really just becomes, complementary colors, right? You don't want to use too much clown suit, red and green together, shifts the brain into Christmas mode, so you are playing with some psychosomatic or, mental issues when you play with color in there. But I don't know that I trust that you can't use whatever color you want, right?
I had to go outside real quick. It's raining, so I had to grab my cardboard.
Oh, all the stuff that's out there. Yeah.
No, I didn't leave any.
I knew Jen said it was supposed to get cold and rainy this year, or this week. I'm trying to look at other things that I have here, right? Because like you see me use a lot of purple and the shadows, the dark purples and such. So all the shadow color on this guy is dark purple. Dark purple is not a natural thing you go find in the shadows. What it is it's a color that can bring cool nature, cool temperature into the shadows like a dark blue does, which the brain does register with. Lack of color tends to feel cooler as you go into darkness. The nighttime's cooler, shadows are cooler from the sun and all that. So you bring that mental aspect into it, find a cooler color to bake into the shadows, right? But the magentas in the folds of his belly, the magentas that come out of the purple on the arm, none of that is realistic, but it gives me a really neat coloration that then leads up into the skin color, which is this, dull kind of paper thin parchment colored skin from living in a cave their whole lives. And so you get to play with whatever color you want. And I love the fact that in fantasy and sci-fi, we get to create our own color palettes however we want to, because it's our story to tell. If you're painting Napoleon, you can still be very artistic with painting Napoleon, but you have to abide by some rules of making him a more realistic looking figure. Skin tone is probably going to want to lean into, a more pale or tanned flesh, depending on the character. But you can still play with shadow tones and midtones, however you like.
That's why it's hard for me to sometimes get into the superhero painting, because I'm like, I've seen Spider-Man with blue and red my whole life, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to unsee it. But
right.
Pop Chicken says, thank you, Jason.
Awesome.
I appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, no, and I love the direction you're taking. The amount of time it sounds like you're spending on getting your own perspective built in is what's going to define your style. And the thing that I wish I could do, if I could just walk up and mind meld with everybody that paints miniatures who maybe doesn't have, because I'm not a trained artist. So don't think that I've gone to school and been paid $50,000 a year for my my college education to go be taught how Da Vinci painted. I don't know anything about that other than what I've gone and studied on my own. But the thing is that I've never been afraid to play. I've never been afraid to pick up a paint and put it on a paintbrush and slap it on a model or a piece of canvas and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I know that none of those things are destroyed by being wrong. The canvas is not destroyed with the first coat of paint you put on it. You can literally prime your canvas and reuse it. I know people who are much better painters than me in the world of 2D art who will paint a canvas, and if it doesn't sell at the show that they take it to, they get a gallery showing, that canvas doesn't paint, they take it home and gesso over it. You want to talk about Baby J frustrating us when he reprimes a model. There are some of those where those canvases were amazing, but they hated it for some reason. It didn't speak to the story they were trying to tell. They heard a bad comment at the gallery about it, and they take it home and gesso over it and paint it again. And guess what? Perfectly fine. Nobody cares. You can paint it again. Same with a miniature, Now, the thing that we deal with in miniature form is that some of the details get covered in if you paint it too many times, right? If you have a chainmail shirt on a model and you paint it 6 times, paint, prime, until you're happy. Eventually, the chainmail is just a shirt. There's no detail in the chain anymore. You can't tell it was chainmail because it's filled with paint. But One rando says, speaking of questions, how does one get sponsored from painting brands? Like if I were to start a YouTube channel, how does that work when I use your product, talk about it, etc.? One rando. So not, every company is a little bit different. We have what we call our monumental program. And if you have a community size of our parameters that we set forth based on what we think, the size needs to be, and that varies, from I guess you would call it the kind of style that you're doing. We have some people that are cosplayers that have hundreds of thousands of followers. We have some people that just do Instagram and have a few thousand followers. But if you're very exuberant and exciting about the art of miniature in particular, and you have a community of people that you interact with, then you're always free to check out the Monumentals program. And you can, I think it's monumentals.monumenthobbies.com, and it has all the program stuff on there. But always feel free to reach out to support too and say, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm using your stuff. I'd like you to keep an eye on us. We always go in and follow you, and we watch along with the community. And as you grow, we can help you out. Some people just want to do giveaways. They want to say, hey, I want to give away some of your paint as a promo for my channel, and we'll give you a discount on the paints for giveaway and things like that if you can show us the giveaway and the winners and let us market it too. That's always good.
Yes, that link that Papa Chicken just put up, that is a link to our Monumentals. Tells you all about it.
Now I kind of want to try freehanding chainmail.
See, here you go. See, teach me. That's why we're here.
I was showing last night. We were at dinner with a couple, and they were asking. The wife was asking what we do, and so we told her, what Monument Hobbies does. If you can super zoom in.
Yeah.
And I showed her the picture of the Shinobi, right? And she was flabbergasted that we had gone in and done non-metallic metal on all of the trim of these links on this kind of scaled deal, when that's, my fingernail. There's probably, what is that? And the size of my fingernail is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nearly 8 bands wide. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 by 8, 64 scales in the size of my thumbnail that I had to do non-metallic metal reflections on those little things, and she was just blown away. And it's like, it's just really, you want to do freehand chainmail and stuff. It's all just that patience deal, right?
Yeah.
I always joke and say I don't have any patience for this, and I don't really, but somehow I keep pulling it off.
Yeah, it's definitely about, exploring. That's for sure.
Well, you and I had a conversation today over lunch, right? Yeah. Chris is talking about his giants, and that one of the things that really holds him up is the analysis paralysis of painting. Yeah. Because especially with the world of YouTube and Twitch here and Instagram and everywhere where you can go see amazing artists tell you exactly how to paint a thing without ever showing you anything valuable. Mm-hmm. Not to knock them, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's like, here, paint these 2 circles, now finish the damn owl.
Yep.
And it doesn't give you a lot of resources to go in and feel comfortable painting with. And so you'll take the limited information you have, stare at the model for 6 days, and think about all the colors you could use, the videos you've watched, the things people have told you, and you get into this analysis paralysis that keeps you from ever touching the model with a paintbrush.
Yep.
And I'm a big purveyor of the thought that just freaking paint.
Yeah.
Just start putting paint on the model, because it isn't going to hurt you. It's not going to bite you, right? If you don't like what you got, you can shift it. I've shown you many times taking a model that we bought off of eBay that was already painted in a color base and changing all of the colors on the model without ever repriming it. Using the color. Remember that orc that we did?
Yeah.
We did an orc a couple years back. That's crazy to say now. But a couple years back, we took an orc from a group of Age of Sigmar orcs that I had purchased on eBay or on Facebook or something like that. And the guy had painted them, and they were all blue-skinned orcs. They had blue skin they were all green skin and blue armor. That's what they were. Green skin, blue armor, standard orcs. And we changed them over to have orange skin.
Yep.
And turquoise non-metallic armor. And I used the green that they had painted the skin in as the basis for my orange, right? Even though the green wasn't great, but it was a good coloring. And I was like, okay, well, that can be the shadow color for orange. So we painted the skin orange using their green and not priming over it. And then we use the armor color that they had as the shadow color for the armor. So if, take that mentality and say, you know what, if I touch this model and I don't wind up liking the color I put on the model, that color can wind up being the base coat for the next color I try.
Yeah.
100% it can. And that prevents you from having to reprime and lose detail on your model and all that stuff. So never feel like you're paralyzed and can't take the next step. There's so many ways to paint. And nobody cares if you don't like the color the first time. Try it again.
Goes to exactly, Jason. Sometimes I just gently force myself to start painting. Yep, it's just paint.
Just touch the model with the brush, man. Just go for it. It's not going to kill you.
It's just paint.
You can't mess up. That's the thing. People get so hung up, and I don't like making mistakes. Well, guess what? None of us do. Right?
Yeah.
Be a trooper.
It's true.
Put on your big girl pants. Put some paint on the model. And start enjoying the hobby the way it was meant to be enjoyed, which is just as a really cool escapist getaway that allows you to have fun with these things that you think are so cool.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're just preventing yourself from having the fun you paid for.
Yeah. Analysis paralysis. TK421, do you have a general game plan? How do you avoid going perfectionist to finish each mini? We get that question quite a bit.
Yeah, like when do you think you're done?
Yeah,
right?
Do you ever generally have a game plan?
I'd never have a game plan. I am the worst person in the world to ask about building a plan. Now, I might have a general sense of, from color what I want to do, what level of quality I'm really trying to paint these to. I'm the kind of person I want everything that I spend time doing, especially if I'm going to take it and put it on a table and play a game. I want it to be finished, and I want to feel good about putting it on the table. So for me, that standard is fairly high. I want to make sure that my models all look pretty good. This is my run-of-the-mill, battle-ready Blood Angels army, right? So this, if you ask me, like, what are my standard troops look like? This is it, Yeah. And then you're like, okay, well, what about the leaders and stuff? And then we do like non-metallic gold Dante.
Yeah, focus on your leaders,
right? But for me, it's like everything on the table wants to look good because I want to be able to pick every model. And then I get stuck in that paralysis and I never finish the thing because I'm like, good God, I don't have the time in my life to paint all 500 Space Marines to the level I've chosen.
Yeah.
So for me, it forces me into a situation where I like skirmish games. I like stuff like this where I've got a total of, here's 7, 8, 9 models that wind up being a force for this game.
Yeah.
And then I can feel a little bit more freedom to say, okay, if I decide I want to spend a ton of time on these guys, then I can. And I can get away with it and not feel bad about it. And that works better. But
yeah,
everybody's different. Some people are just trying to play the game. Let's get the paint on the model. Let's get it done. If you're playing in a tournament that requires you to have painted models, sometimes you're paying your buddy to paint them for you, whatever works for you. But if you're painting and you want to try to figure out when you're done, that's all up to you. Right? That's up to you and your expectations for how it looks. When you get to that point, be okay with it. What I would say is get good at shutting down when you reach that level, right? When you say, okay, I've painted it exactly the way I set out to, unless for some reason along the journey you've been like, oh my God, these models are great. I'm going to put more effort into it.
Yeah.
Keep it a conscious decision. Don't get lost in the muck because you can get bogged down and wind up spending way too much time on a particular model or a group of models that, you're never really going to feel that much return from. Maybe you don't really even play that game much. You're just painting them. You get lost in it. You spend a lot of time on it. Then they sit on a shelf and you're bummed and it might make you want to paint the next army.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But it's funny you're saying all that stuff because I'll fall prey to some of that too. But now I've just really enjoyed the getting it done. It doesn't have to be at a certain level because I love painting, big war bands, right? That's what I really enjoy. And as long as there's a centralized theme and you can see what the theme is in the army, that's like the goal, right? Not necessarily how well they're painted, but if you can see like, oh, this is a part of a theme,
yeah,
right? Like the same story, then that's when I consider them done or good enough to be called done.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, I went and judged the painting. We sponsored the Champions Cup this last year, which was the world's largest team champions for 40K. And it was in Dallas, Texas. And we went, there were, I don't know, 600 people there.
Yeah.
And tons of teams. And the painting competition that I was judging had, people would lay out their armies, and the 3-foot test, quote unquote, was as I was walking up, I'd see all these armies laid out on their boards. They'd have display boards, some of them would just be out in their carry cases or whatever. But I would see these armies from a distance, and I would be like, ooh, I got to go check that one out. Because from, 30 feet away, I'd be like, oh, that bright purple Eldar, that looks great. You get up close, and it's total garbage. Right, and I don't say that in a bad way.
Yeah,
it was just quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, it was a very fast paint job, but the person had nailed that contrast that was necessary for playing a game to get the units to look like the parts are what they weren't. I was very harsh there saying it was utter garbage.
No, but we get what you're saying. Like, it's
not a competitive paint job, but it was from the sense of this person spent a lot of time to determine what they wanted from the army. The army needed to look good on the table, and that was it. The guy even told me, he goes, I didn't paint them for you to pick them up.
Well, that's
I painted them so that when I put the force on the table, it looks gorgeous. And boy, did it. Yep. And I gave him one of our challenge coins, right? I was like, you did an amazing job, man. This army looks absolutely nuts on the table. And it did. The contrast was there. The details were there from that level where you're playing the game. When you got closer, it all broke apart. And there's nothing wrong with that. He set out with that being a goal, and I know his confidence showed in every model, and I bet it didn't take him but a week to paint that entire army. And he had, whatever it was, 2,000 points.
A painted army, though.
Of 40K. It was awesome.
Painted.
Absolutely awesome.
Get on the table. That's cool.
Oh, did somebody ask about the wings?
I'm looking. I'm trying to go back up here.
You realize so many projects are only finished when I decide they're done? Yes, definitely. Yeah. And it is empowering, right? You get to control that. There are lots of models where I started them saying, hey, I just like, when we're painting the Trench Crusade stuff, the goal there was just to paint really fast. Yeah. And then you pick up the Communicant here, and I'm like, we can go a little bit further on the skin to make it look a little bit more irritated and stuff like that, right? And it's fine. Works great. But we painted everything really quick so that we can get color on them, provide some contrast, make it look good, and then do the bases and be done. And, so we used a lot of washes. We used a lot of very quick techniques. But if I were to look at that model and say, hey, I really think I want to take my Trench Crusade army to the next level. I really love the game. I really love this warband, whatever it is. And I've done the army quick. Then without having to buy another army, I paint in a way. And what I try to teach people is to paint in a way where none of the methods you use to reach completion are different than you would use to take it to the next step too. So I paint every model the same. I might add a wash at a layer where I wouldn't normally use a wash, like on these guys if I'm painting them a little quicker. But that doesn't hinder me from then saying, okay, I want these to be display quality models. I don't have to reprime them. I just have to go back in and spend more time on details, right? So for me, it's as you get used to painting and as you develop your own, I'll call it a style, but I don't mean a visual style that someone would recognize you by. I mean a style and a process that you enjoy painting. You prime, base coat in a dark color maybe, work through your midtones, go to your highlights like I do. That becomes your process. So figure out in your process how many of each of those steps you're comfortable doing to be done, right? And then find ways you can cut corners to be done quicker. So maybe you use 6 colors to do your base tone to highlight for most of your colors. Well, you can shrink that down to 3 and still get really good contrast and cut half the time of painting out. So once you start developing your technique and your process, then you can start either subtracting or adding to it to get, better or quicker, I guess is the way to look at it. You're never going to paint worse, right? You're either going to make it quicker, which means you don't have as much detail, but you should be applying the same techniques you do normally so it still looks good, right? Or you're spending more time on it to make it look better. So it's really just a matter of time versus quality.
Yeah. Got any advice for, say, feathered wings to get a good contrast in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we paint a lot. Yeah. I say we paint a lot. We have in the past painted a lot. But wings can... I like painting wings with my underpainting method. So like these kind of iridescent wings on Dante... somebody mentioned they're the Andrasta wings from Age of Sigmar.
Yes, it is.
But I started with like dark purple, dark blue, jades, yellows, magentas, hot pink, and all that color. You see some of the pink on the feathers. So it builds in a nice color, and then I do the actual color of the feather over the top, and the shadow's already baked in, so I don't have to do any washes or anything like that. The contrast between the feathers is already there, and then you just give yourself some extra coloring to make them interesting. Then you've got, like, if you want to do more of a natural feathering, then you've got the actual Andrasta here, right? And that's just starting with dark colors and working up to bright, and making sure that you keep that contrast in between the overlay of the feathers, because that's really what you're talking about, is making sure you can see each feather and not have them fall into being, all one big lump of color without any definition between the overlaps, right? And so it's really just a matter of doing that dark to bright coloration. For me, that's how I teach. That's how we talk about painting on stream all the time, is starting from a dark base, so your shadow's already baked onto the model. Black primer, black brown primer, dark primer, then your base coat color for these wings is going to be something like warm brown or something deep, rich brown color, mahogany maybe. And then start building up into oranges and yellowish brown, golden browns and things like that, and move your golden browns and your brighter colors for these feathers away from the shadows, so that the shadows maintain that contrast, right? All of the dark lines in between the feathers were the first coat of paint. I never went back and painted them again or added a wash to darken them up. That's just the first coat of paint that I never painted over, right? So you're defining your shadows by not painting them, is kind of what it is. You're putting an all over color on the model that is your shadow color. The whole model's in shadow. And then you're painting your highlights away from that shadow, so that the shadows are what's left behind that you didn't spend any time on. Your shadow should be the thing you focus the least on the model for 90% of them. And then you'll go back and paint some in, like, dark reflections on metallics and things like that. When you get into that level of painting, you will have to go back and add some darkness to the model to get your story told. But for the most part, my shadows are the part of the model I spent the least amount of time on, because it was one coat of paint. That's it. And then all of the other paint is just you spend the time making sure it doesn't get into the shadows. That's really it. It sounds so simple, but that's my method of painting. Everything you see me do is that way.
Just don't get it in the shadows.
Right? Yeah, just don't paint into the shadows. It's fine. I nearly broke my lightning bolts there. I grabbed him by the lightning bolts. Don't grab him by the bolts.
What are those lightning bolts made out of?
They're made out of paintbrush, the house paintbrush. That's why we have that big house paintbrush. I like to take the big bristles on house paintbrushes. They're like 3 or 4 inches long.
Oh, okay.
Because they actually, so a lot of people use other things to make lightning, but those other things never have the ability to have hard corners. Yeah. They look a little smooth, and lightning isn't smooth. It's very jagged in my head. So I always learned early on to go get the paintbrush bristles, because you can take those, and when you bend them over 90 or 180 degrees on themselves, they crease, and they keep a very right angle corner. So all of this is just bent paintbrush bristle. And then you put a little bit of super glue on them to harden it up and keep that shape, and then you're done.
Nice.
So that, you see, I have very hard angles on the lightning. It's very jagged. Yeah. Whereas none of the other methods that people show you, like El Miniaturista and stuff, when he does it, it looks really cool when it's painted, but it looks smooth.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all like string or something like that. So paintbrush bristles, bend them, break them. They give you, the bristle, because it gives you that hard, jagged edge that you don't have to work too hard at. You just bend it over and break it, and then you just keep bending it and squishing it up. And then when you accordion it out, you've got this neat lightning shape. And then you just bend it and glue it to stuff. So it works pretty well.
Avian, that white methodology is definitely Gabe. Been doing white as bone forever. Yeah. That white methodology on the webpage. Yep. Gabe and Jordan put those up. They're great. Michael paints maybe sets 4 for house brush aside.
Yeah. We have one. The guys made fun of it, and they used it as a dry brush during one of the streams. But
what is that, dude?
This is what you labeled the DA100 when you pretended you were me. And you painted an entire model dry brushing this.
What is this product? This is crazy, dude.
And this is the lightning bolts for Dante. Is the synthetic? Make sure you get the synthetic bristle brushes. I got to make sure you get the plastic ones, not the like horsehair ones or something like that. But yeah, you just pull these out. The whole thing, you can see where I've clipped a bunch off. See those short ones right there?
Wow, Jason, I didn't know you were in development of this new product. I'm just saying.
I like how
Gabe and I were driving
nice
back.
And clean.
Gabe and I were driving back from San Diego.
I used it.
We were driving back from San Diego, and we're like, let's tune into the stream. Do. We turned it on, and Jason, lo and behold, was painting with a DA 100. Wow, it's just
liar, fired.
Not, and I'm still here.
Liar, fired.
It's coming, you guys. It's from what I've heard,
But yeah, Michael paints minis. I use the synthetics, and those. And remember, those are also for grass. That was the way we did the grass on the Guardian. Same thing. That's all the bristles here. That's just the paintbrush bristles into tufts of big long grass. For weeds and things like that. Same exact thing. I use like standard tufts static grass at the bottom to be the chaff, and then longer stuff coming out so it looks like that dead, weed stuff. That's the same thing as just paintbrush bristles.
Nice. Yeah, it's
What would a DA 100 and Kalinsky cost? We don't all collectively have that much money. The world can only afford to make one.
Jason, that was just a prototype Jason came up with on his own, by himself, within his own mind, as a person named Jason, and not...
T. Schmidt says, I'm impressed that Chris still hasn't admitted the truth on screen. True dedication to the bit. He will die for the bit. Chris will die for the bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See, he will die.
There's a lot of lies going on right here now. Let's get the truth straight. I'm just saying, it's a cool product. People want it, Painted all. You know what's funny about that day is Jason actually did end up painting one of my Gargants. Technically, on that day.
Very proud of that work that I did that day. Oh, very proud of that work I did that day.
Oh my!
Very proud, Christopher.
Wow,
of all the effort I put into that
the
day.
DA 100, living flesh. Welcome in, everybody. You're just now tuning in. My name is Chris, and this is Jason. This is Monument Hobbies. We make the beautiful paint called Pro Acryl, and it is 3:26 on the hour.
I own the joint, and this guy hopes he has a job tomorrow.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. These are facts.
Actually, Jen owns the joint. Hope she's not watching. She'll be very mad at me right now.
These are facts.
Jen will be like, I'll walk home tonight. I'll walk in the door at home tonight. And she'll be like, so who owns what? And who's hoping they have a job tomorrow?
You guys just probably heard me slurping my water. My empty water bit. That's good, chat. That's good water. It's truth water right there. That's what we call that in the industry.
We don't call that anything.
I'm just going to start saying that after some weird thing I've said. That's what we call that in the industry.
It's called truth water, chat. Chad, do you realize how much Chris lies to you?
Every single day.
Every single...
Which is also a lie because I don't lie. See what I did there?
Oh, my God. Now we're back to that. One of us always lies and one of us always tells the truth.
Oh, boy.
So you got to kill one and ask the other one if he's dead.
Is your
That's
water...
the only way you're going to solve that puzzle.
T-Schmid, no, my water is not in a paint bottle. Yours is. You get the props. Still, if y'all needed to know, last year I filmed T-Schmid at a Defticon, did do a little testimonial, and he's got a whole bottle labeled it, which is actually really cool.
He made the big
freaking
Pro Girl sticker for his
yeah.
book. We need to make those.
It's a great idea.
He told us we could. He told us we could steal his idea.
Yeah, this is it's a nice afternoon here in Arizona. It's rainy and cold. Rare. We need the rain here. I don't know why. I just started hearing some pitter patter of some rain.
Yeah, it better than me. I didn't hear it.
Yep. We got some good stuff coming out soon for you all. Working on a vehicle weathering video. I'm taking all of the weathering portions that Jason did on the tank. So it's taking me, I'm kind of there. We took a lot of time doing it, so I'm compiling it in a shorter form, but I think you guys will like it. That's coming out very soon. We just released that methodology from Baby J, so check that out on Green Cloaks.
Very cool.
Yep. And now we're painting units.
Well, one unit.
One unit. A unit. The unit.
Although I guess technically that is true. I think in this game this is 3 units.
Technically.
Also,
B paints are there opaque paints that are color matches for the transparent paints?
Not in the liquid line. They are all single pigment paints. So and white, even though some of the, we have a red single pigment paint, the transparent red is not the same pigment because in order to get that translucence, you're using a different pigmentation. So the problem is that, you've got a single pigment paint that's transparent in our line. Yeah. And in order to do that in opaque, it's very difficult to get the same color because you can't get those pigments to be opaque without adding other colors to them.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? So you're kind of working against the grain in that regard to say that. Now, in our heavy-bodied acrylic line, you will have the ability to get some of those, what are transparent paints in the heavy-body line that are more opaque, but not as opaque as the standard Pro-Acryl line.
Gotcha.
Right? Because they will still be single or, dual pigment paints that are in that realm of coloration. But, and their opacity will be better, but still not the same. And I hope everybody understands what I just explained about why, right? Because you're not going to do that. I can get some colors that are close, but I wouldn't bother to make them. Wow. There's really no need.
Spasnat says there's a 1.5-inch flat Kolinsky Sable on sale for $198.93.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you get up towards like a number 6, you're into the hundreds of dollars. Just in an artist round.
I wonder what the use case would be for that. Just like precision, like painting trim or something?
Well, you're talking about a brush that's meant to be doing watercolor, and so it's going to be for somebody who's doing tremendous scale watercolor on like huge canvases.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right?
Yep.
Because it's not a brush that anybody would buy for painting oils or acrylics.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, maybe somebody was insane.
That's... I'm just looking. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm just Googling it really quick. Oh my. Yeah. True. Wow.
Yeah, it's not very long bristle either.
No.
They're a funny brush. It's like a texturing brush almost for very large watercolor texturing or something.
Interesting.
Because the hair for Kolinsky is not long. It's the base of the tail, the ring around the tail, so it's not a long hair to begin with.
So it's like if you find
and it's not all usable is the thing, so you are double stacked against being able to do larger brushes because the bristle length is so short.
Yeah. Wow. The more you know.
The Mo you know. We know a Mo. He's usually in chat.
Mo, if you're lurking.
You lurking, Mo? The Mo you know.
Mo was in here a little bit earlier.
Your neighbor was a set designer for the University of Texas, and he had some of the largest brushes ever in his workshop that were natural, bristle, and expensive as all get out. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sure. There's Mo.
The Mo you know right there.
The Mo you know.
Just add an opacifying agent. Works for matting without altering the color. Easy, says Punisher.
That's right. Bless the rains down there. Doghouse. I miss the rain smell in Arizona. It is a glorious smell when the desert gets a fresh blanket of water.
It's funny because it's different here because it's like wet on dirt here. It's a very earthy smell when it rains, as opposed to like back east when it was very green and lots of grass and trees and it would rain and you got that same, it's a different earthy smell.
Yeah, because it takes all the dust out of the air for us and brings it down.
Yeah.
Gives us a little hint of what Arizona would smell like if we weren't in a dust bowl.
Punisher says, glad I could help. Feel free to reach out for more brilliant consulting advice. I'll work for paint and products.
Do. Thanks, Punisher.
And mowing is half the battle. Go, Joe! The mo you know.
Mo you know.
We used to have a thing that was the more you know heart or star that flew across the sky from like reading Rainbow style. It said the more you know, but it said the mo you know.
Where does that live?
It was in the OBS that you destroyed.
Wow. There it is.
It was in the OBS.
It was in the OBS I destroyed?
Yeah.
I made it chat.
It was in all those scenes you destroyed.
I made it new.
You deleted them. They're not there anymore. So they must be gone.
They're on that computer still.
Well, there you go. It's on that computer. Mo's like, thanks, Chris.
Oopsie poopsie.
I did that just for you, Mo, and Chris decided not
Chris
important
the
enough.
Destroyer. That's what they call me, Avian.
Chris the Destroyer. The Mo you
Destroyer
know.
of worlds.
The
There it
Mo
is.
you know.
Chris Thanos snapped the OBS. That's right.
Yes,
I did.
100%.
Hey, you know what? Oh no, he said Christ Thanos snapped the OBS. I see that, Gosu, and that's hilarious. Reason number 1, Chris is terrible. Papa Chicken says, wow, OBS destroyed. Stay tuned for the other 14.
Oh.
Yo.
Oh.
Hey, here's what we'll do, chat.
Oh, here we go. None of this will ever get done, whatever he's about to say. Just gonna throw that out there.
No, that's not true.
Just throw that out there.
I'm
chat.
a man of my word. You know what? No, actually, Chad, I take it back. I'm gonna leave you on a. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it now. I'm gonna make you all feel that weight of what could have I possibly said.
Are you thinking this is punishment for us, Chris?
I don't know. You tell me, chat. Reason number 2, no producer camera. Papa Chicken, you don't want to see my ugly mug. What are you talking about?
Chris is a beautiful man. Chris is a beautiful man, and he's afraid of you people.
I'm afraid of you people. I'm afraid that you'll see me in what I'm doing behind the scenes. It's a beautiful. I've got my little spaceship here. Wish you guys could see it. I've got the record button, and I've got an angle, then I've got a pressing, and then I got a Jason face, and then I got a chat response, and I got a keyboard. I go back to chat and respond. It's all beautiful. I'm like a little DJ back here. Reason 3, he makes you sit with the weight of all that he could have possibly said. Papa Chicken? That is reason number 3. No soundboard cam either. No. You just get the... We go analog here. We go OG. I am going to start getting little Foley sounds, though. Make my own little thing. Dusty Hobbies. Give me 15 reasons why you won't show your face, Chris. I won't.
See?
Do it. I won't do it.
See? When you put him to the test.
I need people to focus. And, I don't want to take the focus away,
He's so beautiful.
I don't want to do
Chad,
that.
have you ever found yourself for no reason of understanding just watching the Victoria's Secret runway show?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to tell you.
Wow.
Staring at Chris is right in league.
It's not, chat. He humbles me.
He humbles
He humbles me.
If you can't give me 15 reasons why, then it's not a real thing. That was Chris yesterday, actually, I think, right? It's not real. Because Chris can't give us 15 reasons why.
Oh, wow.
By his own admission.
That's right. You know what? That's true.
You talked yourself in your own hole here, buddy.
Don't make me give you 15. Don't make me give you 15, Chad. I'll do it. Hey, pro paint taster. Speaking of good-looking people, Grant, welcome in.
Wait a minute.
Dusty Hobbies, you
Grant
did give me.
shaved.
Grant, you did shave.
Grant shaved, and now we don't know what to think around here.
Oh, no. Grant.
What did he say?
A beautiful man like Colin Farrell. You know what, Ghost Hunter? I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
If you liked Colin Farrell as the Penguin,
hey, I was in True Detective as a background extra near Colin Farrell.
Were you?
I was. You can see me. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. It was in season 2, chat.
Season 2, yeah.
Yeah, it's so silly.
I need to go. I'm watching those again, so I'll have to keep an eye out. What scene?
There is a scene where they are on this like
That's the one with Vince Vaughn, right? As the bad guy.
they're
Well,
on.
I say bad guy, not really.
They're on a movie set.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a movie set, and you see me talking as I was playing a second AD background on the movie set.
Okay.
So I was talking to the director in the background, and you see me with my long flowing locks.
Oh, that's right. Chris had big old long hair.
I did. I did. I cut it all off, chat. One of the best decisions I've ever made.
I came in one day and I was like, who is this sexy beast?
After 13 years.
And how do we hire more of them?
Yeah, so you can see me in True Detective. You can also see me. You can also see my butt in a Modern Family episode.
What?
Just for like 5 seconds.
What was that about?
It was not like that. It just was. I was an extra in a store, and I was SAG-AFTRA at the time, so you had to they needed a certain amount of background for that. And one of my friends was like, "Hey, I know you're SAG. You want to get in here and be an extra for a day?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So yeah, you can see my butt. I have pants on. More than that kind of show.
They can't see your butt.
Yep, that's me.
That's me.
Do.
I bet you wonder how I got in.
Every once in a while. I had
a
good friend who was a extra, a signature extra or whatever you want to call him, who would appear often on Modern Family, and she got me in there one day.
What did she do on Modern Family?
She was a select extra where she was on a boatload of episodes.
Oh,
yeah.
Not as the same character.
Not as the same person, no.
Oh, gotcha.
The more you know. Pro paint taster. I shaved and Jason just looks through me when I speak to him. Then tells me to go find Grant because that's a Grant problem. I'll never shave again.
I do say that quite often.
Panic Bomb. We need more butt. Get Christopher. That's right. They called in the big guns for that.
Grant comes over now and says, ask me questions. And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
And where you came from. But go find Grant.
Go find Grant because that's a Grant thing.
That's good water.
What are you doing?
Sorry, I don't know if Chad can hear that. What is the conversion of boatload to volume in L? That's funny. Oh, chat, you're welcome. Maybe you'll see me one day on the big screen.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
Ta-da!
You're not going anywhere, buddy. You're not going anywhere, buddy.
Oh, Dusty Hobbies, this is a great question. How many Scotias in a boatload?
That's a lot, dude.
That's a lot of Scotia. I believe that would be a metric boatload.
A ton of Scotias in a boatload. Like a Scotia is it's just a little more than a spritz.
Wants to be on the big screen, but refuses to have a producer cam. Touche. I am found out. How many dudes?
What he's going to do is going to set one up that looks at his butt now.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. That's what I'll do. I will just give you guys the back of my back. Or I'll do it like Home Improvement where you just see my eyeballs over the screen. That's how we'll do it. Oh my gosh. Butt cams plus far buttons. Just wonderful.
What is this stream turning into? I thought this was the year of the serious painting again.
It's hey, whoa. Everybody back up. We only get a few of these, chat. Keep us real. Welcome in. We are painting units. Painting up units. Dusty Hobbies. Center up the butt cam for me, please, Chris.
Yeah, right.
You want to center that up for me?
Chris, could I get you centered up on the butt cam for me, please?
Oh my gosh. These are from a game called Blackout.
Blackout. Blkout.
They're very good minis.
Great. They're 3D prints, and they are really, really amazing quality.
And did you have to do any like prep work on them?
None.
That's
Glued
awesome.
to the base. There were a couple of areas where there were still a couple of support pieces hanging on, like in tight areas, that I would have to go in and just with the knife move them out of the way.
Yeah.
Like clip them out. But that was super, super simple. Didn't take any time at all.
Yes, they're really cool.
No, I was very, very happy with these guys. And it is a nice little indie company here in the United States, veteran owned. You can tell the love they have for the content because the sculpts are just really spot on as far as like how
they're well designed,
how lifelike or realistic their version of this kind of near sci-fi world is. I really dig it. Really good stuff.
Video game archaeologist. Hey nerds. Ooh, not often do you get a modern era wargaming troop. Yeah, this is definitely that.
Yeah, so it's near future kind of sci-fi, very hard sci-fi in the terms of these guns look like they're hard round munitions as opposed to laser guns and stuff. You've got large AI controlled automatons that go along with them. This is called a heavy duster, and the duster has like a 30 millimeter cannon on it and like a 20 millimeter or so medium machine gun or heavy machine gun style weapon on it.
Yeah.
And of course, big hands and some, grenade launchers and stuff like that. And then you've got smaller kind of heavy infantry style AI automatons. So I really dig the idea that, humans are still on the battlefield, but are valuable enough that we're sending technology in the door first and then cleaning up with the humans second. So.
Yeah. And we also found out that the game takes place on like one of the first colony planets they go to.
The first colony planet, that humans.
So it is definitely, I would say just very sci-fi, but also not out of the realm of realism.
Well, the sculpts are really, really good with regards to the posing, right? The lean into proper rifle discipline, just the way that we're carrying it, like
look at it,
ready state on the run, so really neat models. I like a lot of the attention to detail that they put into them.
Yep.
Very, very nice.
Very nice.
It's very nice. I'm using gray blue right now as a mixture into both of my denim color, which was the Payne's gray, right? And mixing it in there for this blue denimish vibe that I want on the pants for a couple of these guys, as well as mixing it into the dark gray blue for the blue shirt that I just did. So I get a similar coloration, but there'll be enough different that it won't be identical. And just taking very quick little sweeps at the model to pick up the high edges of all the wrinkles and such. Stuff for the pants.
Cynical has a question.
Sure.
How many of the insert color black variants do you all have now?
Insert?
Like black greens or whatever, like how many total do we have?
Of black variants?
Yeah.
Well, we've got emerald black and jade black coming in the next 24, so that adds 2 more. We've got black green, blue black. Noting that black green is black as a darkening shade for green, so it is still more of a green, but it would fall into where we could call it green black too, I guess.
Yeah.
So what is that? If you call the true blacks part of that, then you've got 2 of those. You've got coal black and satin black. Then you've got blue black, black green, jade black, emerald black. So you'll have 6.
Also, here's a little tip of the day for you. You need a good color to repaint your base rims. Satin black.
Only way to go.
Great.
Only way to
Brings
go.
back the plastic of the rim feel, you know? So satisfying when you slap it on there.
The only way to paint your bases.
I personally like it more than even the coal black, right? Because that little sheen, right? That little sheen just makes all the difference.
Yep. Satin black is the de facto base color for sure. And one other guy with jeans too.
Gosu uses base satin black for his bases for all his metallics too. That's also a good idea.
Yep.
Cynical. So from that, I'm assuming if it's black before color, it's to darken the color, and if it's color before black, it's slightly tinted black ?
Yeah, that's the reason for our naming convention like that.
Right.
The first adjective is the additive color, and the second name is the base color. So if you're getting blue black, it is intended to be a black that is hinted with blue. And same with, but the black green is a true green that has black as an additive to darken it up, rather than just calling it like super dark green. You nailed it.
Ghost Hunter. I'm personally looking forward to purple black, orange black, yellow black, red black.
Oh, we do have black red, but again, that's not so. Black green and black red are.
Oh,
the
right.
Black red is a red. The black green is a green. They're not blacks. But we have black red coming out in the next 24 too. But it is a red. It's a very desaturated red, like a whole red kind of a color. But it's black red.
And in 2055, we're going to redo all of the paint line, but just in the reverse name.
Yes.
That's it. So get
Bold
ready for
Pyro red is red Pyro bold. Just so we can say, look, we changed the lineup.
Oh my gosh.
Here it is again.
Paint Station Minis.
Paint Station Minis rating 14.
Hello.
Welcome in, Raiders. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the raid.
Somebody gave this man a
Thanks,
megaphone. I think he gave it to himself.
No, actually.
Now blames us, and we have to deal with it, chat. So thank you. Welcome, Raiders.
Welcome in, everybody.
You're coming in towards the end of the show, yeah?
Yep. But
close to the end.
We appreciate that raid.
We're working on some Blackout minis. These are near future warfighters at 28 mil scale, like very, very true scale detail. There's no heroic scale here, which makes all the detailing very, very fine. But they do have big walking tonks.
Yeah.
we got dreadnought size stuff. I have to admit, this is what pulled me into the game.
The dusters?
Yeah, I saw one of the heavy dusters, and I was like, ooh, what's that? And then they showed me the rest, and I was like, oh, it has kind of an Infinity vibe if Infinity knew what it was doing.
and then they came with dope troops.
Yeah. Like if Infinity didn't give you women that were in, super tight garb that didn't make any sense on the battlefield. This and magazines for guns that go the wrong direction. Yeah, this game has its act together in terms of like stylization. Really makes sense. It is a little. I will say that by doing that, you put yourself into a realm of it being a little more plain, even though there's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
The miniatures themselves are not going to have as big of a differentiation faction to faction because they're not built with this over the top kind of manga technology that Infinity really does.
This is realism, right?
Yeah, the Infinity end of the world has got that kind of manga influence, and so some of their armor suits and stuff have got a definite vibe that isn't supposed to be practical. It's visual aesthetic, and it works great. I had a Yuching faction for Infinity that I loved, and all of the big heavy armor dudes were way over the top, and I loved it.
Paint Station Minis, can I share a link to a pic of what I worked on? It was with your materials.
Hey, we don't look at links here, but if you put it in our Discord, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, hop into the Discord and tag it.
But yeah, if Chris throws up the Discord link on here, we would love to take a look at it.
We really appreciate that too. Thank you.
But if you want to put the link up in chat here for everybody else to look at, feel free. We just don't stop the show to look at links.
Yeah.
But if you want to show
throw
it
your
off,
link
definitely
up
do.
in chat for sure.
And awesome to hear that you're using some Pro Acryl. I feel like this guy... Oh no, the seam does go all the way up. I was going to say, I thought maybe I was supposed to leave more skin showing on his wrist, but the seam for the sleeve goes further up, so no.
Warhawk, this is for a game called Blackout.
And we're just basically doing a first initial highlight on it. We're focused on painting an entire squad in assembly line fashion. So I'll take a color and paint it on all the minis rather than working up one mini at a time like we do around here so often.
Yeah.
I typically paint display models and not whole armies or squads and things like that. So I'm typically looking at, painting one part of the model and showing off how I go about, doing a particular look. And on these guys, it's more about, okay, well, let's go through and do all the base coat colors, and then let's come back and do the first highlight and show more process-oriented stuff on how to kind of make sure that you're getting yourself some good progress baked in on a daily basis. If you only have a couple hours to paint every day or an hour to paint every week or whatever, how are you going to make the most of it? And I think that, picking the assembly line style process or batch painting process, whatever you want to call it, is a very good way to do that so that you don't get burnt out.
Yep.
Because if you only have a few hours to paint, not everybody sits in their studio all day every day. If you only have a few hours to paint and you work on one model out of a unit and get it done, then by the time you get to sit down and paint again, you may not remember what you did. You may, have to think, it's easy to fall into that, oh, I'm already finished. Why am I doing this again? As opposed to, oh, I got to paint all the brown on these guys next. And then taking the time to knuckle down and do the next color. It gives you progress. Your time seems better spent, especially if you're painting for gameplay. If you're painting for display, then, all bets are off. The time you spend is going to be what it is.
Yeah.
But you probably have a more defined focus on your goal if you're painting for competition or display or whatever. I don't think we had one green shirt, so... So slowly but surely, and don't call me Shirley.
Thank you for that.
We're getting to the point to where the highlights become a quicker process. When we do things like when, we did the whole focus on the deets and the doots, when we're doing the non-metallic gold on a Todio LT gray here, that the highlights wind up taking more time than the base coats, because on this larger model, defining those bright spots especially when doing non-metallic metal and creating that story, doing the cloak and all that, you wind up spending all your time at the end of the model. Whereas when you're batch painting for armies, you wind up going faster as you go because your highlights take fewer brushstrokes to achieve, right? And because you're not going through and over detailing the model, you're really just going faster because you're painting less and less paint each color you choose, because it's just going brighter and brighter, and the final color just goes along the top edge, boop, and you're done. And so you do, 100 models with 100 times, whoop, that long, right? And so you can wind up going faster. So when you are doing this, it starts off slow because you're having to paint bigger areas of a single color as your base coating. Then as you start highlighting those base coated layers, you cut your time in half, and then you start highlighting your final highlight, and you cut that to a quarter, right? And then by the end, you're just going through and doing some final detailing and the bases and stuff. So that also is a good way to look at when you're painting for armies, that while it starts slow, it speeds up as you get to the point where it's looking better and better and better, which is fun. You're working on your way up to Lion L. Tywin Lannister. The GW one has a head that looks exactly like Tywin Lannister with the receding hairline and everything. Pretty funny. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining in. For Raiders that came in there at the end, please, if you're new around here, hit that follow button or the subscribe button if you're over on our YouTube channel. We broadcast to both simultaneously, simulcast, if you will. We do stream here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona at Monument HQ. Remember that the links for Monument Hobbies and all of our FLG will be able to get you the wonderful products that you see me using live on stream every day. Go give us a try the next time you need some paints or brushes or other hobby stuff. We would love to be your go-to hobby supplier. We love seeing you here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. All the great questions. You're always driving great content. Hopefully I gave you some really good answers and stuff to think about on your own painting journey. Make sure also to join our Discord. That link was shot up there by Chris a minute ago. And we've got, how many do we have? 5,408 amazing artists in the Discord learning how to be good assembly line workers. Ghost Hunter, that means somebody left. I think we were at 5,409 yesterday. What the heck?
Were we?
What the heck? What the heck? We probably banned somebody.
I don't think so.
We probably banned somebody for making fun of Chris. But over 5,000 amazing artists just like you guys. It's a great place to go make friends, get inspired, hang out, and live the nerd life. So we'd love to see you over there. So, and Mike Disney, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're doing great. Detroit's finest in the house. So thank you so much, everybody. Stick around. Chris is going to find somebody to pass this raid off to. So more hobby goodness as you go off into your evening on a Thursday. We look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Show some love to the channel we wind up in. And we'll catch you here tomorrow. Adios, gang.